I guess we're looking at for the African conflict. It's like so as a group when sometimes people suffer identity crisis. They, they think that these or they think as I'm standing before you, who am I? Remember, not I, my first name. That certain parameters set by the university. And as I'm standing before and is constantly reflecting in Walmart. But why do I stand out and not blend in? That's my own problem. But you're in America. Why don't you just dress like the Americans dress? I can't afford it. Simple. So every identity is complex and it's in the flux. It depends on how. I'm also an immigrant. And by the tone of my voice, you can tell that this is an immigrant. So there are many complexities. Defining Africa means navigating between where I come from, the geography, of course, the racial, which is my brown chocolate color, and cultural signifiers. This is signifying something. It is saying something to all of you. I am not American. But underneath it is something that is not Yoruba. So I'm free to mix and match, but I have given predominance to We're not all the same. We're different from each other. We carry different ideas. We build our houses differently. You remember that Ali Mazuri in the movie, in the documentary we watched, he said the African started to paint on his body before he started to paint on rocks. The aesthetics, and we're going to mix that. And the question you're going to ask yourself is, what are African aesthetics? Meaning the value on beauty. How we value beauty. I want you understand today, the cop-out in the Western world is to say, beauty is the eye of the beholder. That when you see beauty, you know it. But alone, let me tell you today, that what you think is beautiful is not what is before you. It's not what you're looking at. What is beautiful is what you have been told. Is what is between your ears. Whatever, a painting, a human being. The Yoruba group that I come from, when they look at a woman, let's look at the gender first. When they look at a woman, and she is voluminous, that to them is beauty. When that same woman crosses to America, when she's slim, that is beauty. Beauty is not universal. I have told them at the World Pageant that they should stop their nonsense. It is total nonsense to say somebody is Miss World. Nonsense. How can that be one person chosen as the representative of beauty all over the world? That's total yes. We all do not see. And what we see is not what is there. I've heard it many times. When I see beauty, I know it. You don't know it, my friend. You don't. Because there are more things that inform that. So, the African culture encompasses a rich tapestry of traditions unique to each and every one of us. You can tell me, and I won't quarrel with you, that you know what you call beauty in your own is the same thing with ours. Fine. At least accept the fact that I have my own parameters of determining what is beautiful. Don't come and impose your own on me. Don't come and tell me, hey, Dr. Kusana, look at this picture. You didn't say beautiful. Stop. Just stop right there. It might be beautiful to you. And this idea of, this is Picasso's work. Everybody, no, not everybody. You must give respect to where each of us come from. And we have our own definition of what is good and what is bad. The easiest I will tell you, people say that, it's so terrible to kill somebody. A pastor went to an army barracks and got to the point in the Bible that it says, thou shalt not kill. And the soldiers started to laugh. What do you mean? Thou shalt not kill. Then what do you think we're here for? And it started a debate. Thou shalt not kill in the sense of maliciously killing. What that thing is saying is, thou shalt not maliciously kill. But it does not exempt killing as a form of defense. So it's a more philosophical thing than that is. Even as simple as that, beauty, even death, we all see it from where we are and where we stand. Let's look at the second thing, inclusivity and heritage. African culture reflects inclusivity to bring everybody together and prioritizes the preservation of heritage. People, I don't know why, it says, I love my country so much I can kill for it. That part I really don't understand. This primordial instinct of defending what was given to you by the generations before you. Why would you kill a person because of that? That one I don't understand. But to preserve your heritage means that you will not in future be in extinction. If you don't preserve your own heritage, you are committing a death for the future while you are alive. But you cannot preserve what you don't know. Okay. Finally, within the nuances, the cultural preservation, the importance of preserving African culture is deeply ingrained in the continent's ethos of survival. We have to survive. And for you to survive, your cultural assets. If you remember, if you have not read it, please go and read it. The article by Tomaselli, Kenyan Tomaselli, how your own culture and cultural resources are assets. As you are sitting down, just your name has a rich history. Your age, and so on, data about you is gold. If they're assets, but they're assets you don't put on your head and go around telling people, this is my asset. But for the African, it's all part of it. My name is Kole Ade. It's a piece of the history of my family. It just, once you call my name, everybody in my family knows that I was born at the time my father had these two houses, side by side. And when I say that, I'm telling you, he didn't go to any bank to get a mortgage. Every nail and every sheet of iron he bought. So it is that to recall the time I was born. So it's all in us. It's not something that somebody told us to do. And we don't do it because we think it's a proper thing to do. There are also challenges and innovations. Because we do not live on an island as Africans. Ali Mansouri told us the cities by the coast, all those cities by the coast, they are always they're influenced by cultures that come to them. So the tensions between modernity and tradition poses challenge for the interpretation of African living spaces. So you're going to see buildings. Can this be African? This one that has air conditioning. No. Because it's African does not mean it's backward. It does not mean that it is primitive. Because that is the idea when you take to somebody an African house. They always think, oh, we're talking about mud houses, huts and stuff. No. No culture is static because it's a way of life. And there are new perspectives all the time, embracing innovation, meaning new things and new creativity, while preserving cultural authenticity becomes a balancing act. And I'm going to show you an AI-generated that I told the AI that I wanted. And you will see how it came up with it. And when people saw it, they knew immediately that the materials I was using were not imported materials, but we will see. So, when you say symbolism, it's when something is represented. Representation of African living spaces. One, this is, the architect that built this place. If I could contact the architect, I would say, Excuse me, sir or madam, what was in your mind when you created a classroom like this? The windows on one side and then wall of this on the side. Africans don't do that. There's something we call cross ventilation. We build our houses. Before we build it, we first try to understand the elements. When it rains, where does the water flow? Where is the gradient? When the wind blows, how does it blow? Does it blow from here there? Does it blow here? And we will create a door here, and there will be a door. Just facing it. We build African living spaces deeply reflect a connection to the natural environment. And I hope you can get to see what David Aradion talks about. That is one of the things. Now, listen, what I'm telling you right now is not about what Europeans do. I'm not saying that I know European influences, but this is just what they grow up. That houses should respect the environment in which they are. The other thing is the cultural narratives. Each space, like the archaeologists we read, was talking to us about how the women will make their rooms. Before you must earn our trust to be able to allow you go further and further into the building. Each space embodies, that is, it's part of, and communicates unique cultural narratives and traditions. You will see some of the houses are in the round, you see them, there's a quadrangle somewhere. They're saying something. If you walk around this building here, this building is a prototype of a prison, because the architect wants you to be imprisoned in the classroom so that they can say something to your ears, and then whether the teacher is there, you're probably fiddling with your phone or something. Hey, it's the way of prison. It's the way prisoners behave. What got them into the prison first was the deviant behavior. They were not behaving according to what society wants. So the people who constructed this understand the fact that the students who come here will probably be deviant as well. The teacher will be talking the public something, what's my business? And then they expect me to be the warden. And then they put a little hole here. Now, so they look at it. So buildings communicate something. And you can lead to that, conform to what the building says or communicates. It's deviant. There is a limit to which water can bring you. The only thing is, if, for instance, you start making a call in a class, that can call for the security to come and pull you out, because you have just crossed the line. So this structure here tells me it's like an imprisonment. But do the inhabitants of the place, do they have to behave like that? So there are cultural narratives that the building talks, and we're going to see some samples. Then there's harmony and community. In America, you call yours, in Britain, in the UK, we say you have a flat. Everybody lives in a flat. In America, everybody lives in an apartment, because we are apart from our neighbors. We want to live apart. I've heard people brag. I don't even know, I've lived there for 10 years, I don't know my neighbor. My neighbor doesn't even want to know me. There's no community. As I'm talking to you now, I have a proposal sitting in the Gainesville Cultural Affairs Board, how to bring competitions among all the complexes so that we can build a community. Do you think they will read it? No. This place is not based on that. It's based on individualism. And why is it based on individualism? Because the more individualistic we are, the more things we will consume. Think for a moment, just one moment. Why would my neighbor, right? My neighbor pay for Wi-Fi, right? No matter how many devices, they will still pay the same amount. They could as well give me the password or add my device to that and we share the cost. No, that's not America. Why should we live? I live in a complex. Everybody puts their trash out, one, and then the workers will come and, why can't we have one trash bin? Everybody throw it, and let them come, take that one and go away. No. So each of us will pay $35 per month. Because we cannot imagine living in a community. But in this one here, we are guided by what is called Ubuntu. Your happiness, I'm happy because you are. I am because you are. It is different from the Western nation of I think, therefore I am. Individualism. But what is the African? So let's start to get through the maze to understand that there are certain peculiarities about the African, even if you can't see it, even if it is diluted, even if it is not reported, it is the core of what makes us. Now, having gone through all of that, we like to live in community. We think that to live together, we can go far. Because there are no perfect human beings, but there can be a perfect group. And what is that perfect group? Your weakness will be accounted for by somebody in the group. And that's what that's what most countries on the African continent believe, especially those that live in the rural area. Remember that when we read about urbanization, or when we just read about Summer, he was talking about the rural youth and the city. When you see the city, you see the slum. They're like twins. In those places, the amount of solidarity amongst the poor is unbelievable. And that was what my work, Tina, you can bear me witness, we read it, we were here. The only time I had to talk about my work, some did not show up. So, how do we integrate the emotion, the idea of the living spaces, this African concept? So you have cultural integration. Culture, anyway, is not only about dancing. It's not only dancing. It's also a culture about reuse. I don't know whether in this part of the world, when we buy a jar of oil, the empty one will be used to store something else. It's just our way. Those are new products to us. I can't imagine my parents or my mom buying a plastic of bleach, and when the bleach finishes, close the thing. Now, it's going to find another use. It must be useful. So it's part of our culture. Our culture is the way of life of a people. And so the blending, what we are now, remember that most of the things we've looked at, some of them are old papers. And I would always ask you, so this paper was written in 2005. What has changed in 2024? For the women, by the time you read that paper, there was no Beijing. The women of the world had all gone to China. And they came up with the Beijing Declaration. What it can be reflected in that paper, that didn't happen. So, and then I showed you a documentary of Nigerians who were creating things. They used to. So you would see that there is nothing static. Though in this class, we look at the past, we compare it to the present, and it's allowing us to project into the future. So there's a blending of the modern, whatever you call modern, and traditional elements in African living spaces. And this is a delicate act. Then urbanization, the impact of places becoming urbanized. Urbanization and the urban centers actually mean that people have left places where they know them and know their history and know their fathers and their mothers. They've gone to a place of anonymity. In urban centers, people don't, if you tell anybody your name here in these days or here, I doubt if everybody can tell where you're from. I don't even think they can. But where you live, that primary school you went to, that K through 12, the headmistress knows you. It will be so difficult for you to go to a store and nobody in the place where you were born and you went to school before you came here. So it's a question of the urbanization influences the evolution and adaptation of, because when we get to the city, it is no more the environment that is determining, it's the economy. It's an ecology. The environment, the economy, and the political will determine the kind of building we put up. But at the heart of it, at the core of it, is also that Africanness. You want to put some things up there to show that you have not totally sold out. Okay, and sustainability. I thought, wait, if it didn't come up, I'm sure one of you would have asked. You know, sustainable practices are increasingly prioritized in the design and construction of African living spaces. What does sustainability mean? It means that you are not working against nature, you're working with nature. How many of you have passed by the collaboratory, the place by architecture? You know where architecture is? Further down this way. Have you ever been to? There are trees that have grown. The design is around, they're not cutting down the things. They have incorporated it into the design. I don't know how you will meet eventually, but that's what they do. You don't cut down because you want to build up. And then the materials you use as well. Very, very important. And that's why people laugh when they see Africans build houses in huts, with huts. They build it with disposable material. Gainesville is a very good example. If you don't know, you all were the reason why we started on all these high rises. We never did in Gainesville. When I came in 2006, they were all houses made of wood. Once the hurricane comes, it flattens it, we pack the wood to another place to go and fill up somewhere, and we bring it again. Because we know the environment which we're living. They didn't have great resistant buildings, hurricane resistant buildings. The wood, once it comes, how much is it? How much does it? I have pictures of how some of these buildings, the chemistry, that chemistry thing, I can take you the frame. I have the picture of when it was just ordinary soil until it became what it became. But on the African continent, you will see, and I will try and see whether I can share. All right. So there's contemporary means what is happening now. Contemporary African living space concepts. And this is where you're going to come in. With all those things I've said, I have an assignment in class. You're going to design your own living space. I have it all written there. It will take time. I just want you to give free bend. There's no wrong or right answer. But I don't want an American building in Africa. I want you to think of it think as an African, talking to a designer, these are the things I want. And you know what? We have something called AI. We can tell AI, and that building will come up. So we're going to do that. Well, let us look at this one. The building elegance. When you look at this, you don't really, it looks like anything you can find in Broward or any dormitory here. What these things here, the calabash, gives it that little tone. This one here, you can't mix it. You can't mix it. The traditional elements, time-honored architectural features are reinterpreted in modern African living spaces. And then this one here, sustainable innovation. Sustainability and eco-friendliness. What does eco-friendliness mean? It means that it's not at variance. There are some buildings that are very rude, and I want you to go and watch out for them. Rude buildings. None of it is Pure Hall. Do you know where Pure Hall is? You know Pure Hall? You know Pure Hall? It's by Dawa, very close to the hall. You know the place now? It's a big building. Look at the house on this side. The house on this side is almost putting its mouth on the street. The one well, it's almost right on the street. Pure Hall, wanting to tell the two of them that you are shameless buildings, starts at the end to give space. That is how buildings should let it breathe. Well, maybe P is not the shameless one. Maybe those two are the ones. If you look at the structure and look at how Pure Hall is constructed, and then come inside. If you go to Dawa Hall, it's like a mess. Please don't wait to call it because you not even find your way out. Buildings that don't have sense, senseless buildings. Quality is a good example. A Chinese girl came near me, and she was trying to find her way out. She couldn't. So she gave up. She didn't know the way out of toilet. It's a good story. She just slept there overnight until the janitors came. And they woke her up. And she said, I've been trying to get out of this building. I couldn't find the way out. And they let her out. You have to, what I'm saying now might look like, oh, just a few. You have to go to Pollington Hall and see. So buildings, sometimes they are not friendly with the people who live there. They're not friendly with the environment. Okay. You know, we cannot talk about the present without the future. So future evolution of African living spaces, innovation, integration, constant innovation will drive the evolution. But you will still see that the essence is there. Sustainability emphasis. Sustainability will continue to be a foundational principle, no matter what. Wisdom brings. Universities across America use it to show their age. And bond bricks are just made from mud and clay. Okay, so that's that. Let me see whether I can quickly find the photos. Okay, you can go away. Okay. I want to show you buildings, what I asked AI to generate for me, just telling AI what I wanted. Aha, that's it. All right. Yes, this is my own. I asked AI to generate for me an African building, and I gave it all of these parameters. So in my own, I would like to have the courtyard. You see, the courtyard has been replaced by a swimming pool. Look at what it looks like. This is AI's idea. What material do you think was used for this? Well, look very well. I will give you some more if you don't get it this time. What material do you think was used? Wood? Yes, wood, yes. Wood is there. Yeah? What? Bamboo, yes. Bamboo will probably be here. You see the roof? It's different from it's a plant, a dry plant. Right? Okay. And there's mud as well. Let's see. Can you see? You see the pillars. So when you look at a building, look at the form and then think of its functionality. There is a debate in architecture which should come first, the function of the building or the form of the building. Should the function direct the form? This is, we want to have a house. Can you see my family? Just imagine. Can you see my family there? That if I sit there in my old age, I can talk to my grandchildren there or them in the swimming pool. In this place here, the chairs are here and there. When you sit by somebody, you can hardly. But there are chairs where you have around, everybody sits. You can see my face. You can see almost when it's sunny, we're there, look at the shade. Are there buildings like this in America? Yes. But the material here is what makes it different. And I have added, I don't just want something that looks affluent. It's not a story building, but I also asked it to do me one. So look at it. You can see the wall. This is made of cane. These chairs are made of cane. And then I have potted plants. Look at, this is an idea. This is my idea. And you look at the arrangement. We can hold meetings there. We can talk. We can drink. And you see direction of the wind. No, be honest with yourself. Do you think I need a fan in this place? Do I need a fan? That's a good, so that's exactly what you're going to be finding out when you make your choices. Okay, so that's that. All right. What's the time now? Okay. At every 15 minutes, 4 minutes, and I want to see the progress of your work. Let's see. Okay, this is the assignment for the class now. I had it printed out. It's okay. So this is the assignment. And every 15 minutes, I want to see your progress. So what is it that you're going to do? If you want to build a house in a village on the continent of Africa, the question is, which type of building would you build and why? That will come at the end of it all. So first, choose 2 countries in different regions of the continent. For example, you can choose 1 country in northern part. So if you choose Morocco, that's fine. And then you can choose from West Africa, Ghana. Just make your choice from the 54, but don't be in the same region. So you have 2. Choose any city outside of the capital in both countries. That's very easy. You can search for it quickly. Those cities in X country you chose. So I'll be coming to look at all of that and read about, try and find out what is in that city you have chosen. What is in it? What are the landmarks, the hotels, the weather, everything. So you're going to research the nature of the weather of a place. Make a list of features you would like in the house. You can see mine. A quadrangle. Do you want a 5-bedroom house? Do you want the houses to be all the houses downstairs or anything? It's just your free. But your house must be in consonant with the city you choose. If, for instance, you choose a coastal city, you know that you have to make provision that in case flood comes, maybe the houses will be on stilts or villa, and then the other one. It's all left to you. I just want to see, how does your mind work? Work from the perspective of knowing the place that you choose. Okay, so you make a list of the features. Why did you decide on the features and the location you chose? Then finally, write a paragraph or two about the city and landmarks in the place. But for every 15 minutes, I want to see how far you've gone. So it's 12:51. I will assume you're starting at 12:50. When it is 1 o'clock or 1:05, I want you to call me, show me the countries you've chosen, the cities. I don't want anything in the capital city. I want something outside of it. How do I know? The internet is there. Use all means to get it. If you have any question, let me know. Hmm. If you have any question, I'm here. Please ask me. We would I will deal with that. Anybody who is for COVID cannot come to the program. Any questions so far? Okay, so. How well is it going? Yes. Okay. What have you done so far? So you have what country did you choose? That's the least. This is the second country. Okay. Okay. So this is the city in the text. What do you what kind of stop first this thing? Can you find out from the goal just all right. So you have chosen that, you've done the research. Have you made the list of features you want in your own house? The list of features in the house? Okay. Now, where is it? Is it in both of them? In both places? In both Tanzania and Morocco? These are the features for. Okay, all right. So, all right. Okay. Now, take those features. Look for AI. It generates buildings. Throw that in and see the kind of building that will come. What kind of? Let me see. And just go to Google and say AI for generating artwork for buildings. Yeah. Yes. Have you chosen your countries? Yeah? Which countries it is? Okay, so what do you know about? What can you find out about those cities? What kind of cities are they? What kind of landmark are they building? Just go to Google and ask the kind of things in the place. Like, you know, if I say Gainesville, so write it there, get it there, seaside town. What else is there? What kind of hotels do they have? That kind of thing. Just ask people and try and like you know Gainesville, so at least you know that we have hotels here, we have motels, we have the university here, we have a clinic, it's a big clinic. Try and find out what's in those places that I have chosen, those cities. And why did you choose them? And then make a list of the features you would like in the house. So what kind of house would you like in that place? So, you know, I see your star that you're going to win the lottery and you win a lot of money, and you just go to the place and build it. But before you go, you need to know, start preparing. See, if this is the house I want, how many stories will it be? You know, do you want it on 10 acres? Just keep that to your attention and make sure it is in link with this location you have chosen on that country. So don't build, if you're in the city, you probably won't get 10 acres in hospital. But if you go to that house, you probably will see, you know, how they feel of it. And you know, you could also go to Google and take a look at the place. So do that and then call me when you are. Yes. So what are you coming up with? Which city do you? Okay. I did you choose the black? I wanted to clarify this. So what kind of house do you want? List the features of the houses you want. I want you to own the place, like you are in America here, you haven't been there, but you know the place. No, are there thieves there? What is the crime rate in the place? Just go and answer to all of those. What is the crime rate there? So if the crime rate is high, you cannot build a house without a fence. You know that. You know you can't build a house without a fence. If the crime rate is high, you will steal everything you have. So I can't get things about the place. Right? Okay. All right, let me just break you for a minute. And while we're doing that, I just want to give you an idea of what Lagos. I come from Lagos, I live there, and what everything I'm going to show you now, 15 years ago, they were not there. Nobody had even a drone. This guy has a drone now, and he's looking at the whole city. Okay, so let's look at him. All right. Now you got to speak.
Anvil Estate.
Okay. So he's riding his bike. He doesn't miss it in
The most beautiful park in Lagos.
Yes.
Check it out.
This is Lagos.
Every structure here stands as a symbol of modernity and innovation.
You see?
This prestigious neighborhood of Ikoyi.
Yes.
I'm right here on the most prestigious road in Lagos. This road in Lagos is renowned for its architectural marvels, notably the Kingsway Tower and the Fafa Tower. Lagos Skyline is rapidly taking shape and more aesthetically.
This is Lagos. Look at it. This is it at night. Lagos, Nigeria, in Africa, West Africa. This is what it looks like at night.
This Kingsway Road is situated in Ikoyi and it's home to a number of multinational companies that has established their offices here.
Wonderful. in Lagos, Nigeria, Africa.
Ikoyi itself is celebrated as one of the most beautiful and affluent neighborhood in Lagos.
Yes.
And it's characterized by well-paved, luxurious estates like Banana Island, Dolphin Estate, and Parkview Estate.
This is Nigeria. You can see with all of that modernity, the buildings, okay, there's a lot of traffic jam, just like in San Francisco. This is the church. I knew this was CMS Church. It's in the heart of the city. He's in the restaurant eating. We have this light rail. It's very recent. The coastal part. This is the rustic part. You see the built-up one. This is outside of Lagos, outside of the capital. This is a state. There are 36 states in Nigeria. Yeah, this is what the real people do. It is ready.
Welcome to Nigeria.
Ogun State. Even the music changes.
Ṣé ní àmàlà àti ewédú?
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni, a ní àmàlà àti ewédú, ṣe fẹ́ gbẹ̀gẹ̀ nínú ẹ̀.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni, ẹ fi iyán náà sí i.
Ẹran èwo lẹ fẹ́?
Ẹran mi ni.
A ní inú ẹran fún ẹ̀dọ̀ ṣàkì àbọ̀dì.
I put everything méjì.
Iṣẹ́ bá ti ládùn bá ti ọ̀pọ̀ ìwé ẹ̀kẹ́ ẹ̀rọ náà. Somehow I suspected that nobody would choose Nigeria, which is fine. So this is just a view. This guy, moves from the capital to the state that is found. This is the capital territory. You see, cattle runs the central mosque. Okay. All right. I just wanted you to have a view of that. It's 12 minutes past. Let me just show you one more thing. And then I will call it quits and I will leave you. I will send you the prompts and then you'll send it to me later. Unique African architecture. In all of those places, even the built-up areas in Lagos and Ogun State, you can still tell that this is not New York. Africa's architecture reflects its vastness and diversity through distinct styles shaped by climate, culture, and locally available materials. Local materials and cultural reflection. There's a deep connection to nature. Then affordability of the materials. You can't have this kind of house in a city without a door and burglary proof. People will steal everything you have. So you need to know the nature of the place. How far are the hospitals? Do they have hospitals there? And stuff and all of that. So we use of local materials emphasizes affordability and adaptability in constructing, crafting for climate. I say don't work against nature. Wind-resistant roofs, Insulating sunken dwellings. Okay. Community harmony, very important. Do you want to build your house in a way that you want everybody to know that you're an American? You don't want to even link with your neighbors? Please don't build houses like that. So there is unity in secular villages. Secular villages foster a sense of unity and community. You see, we're talking about community. When fractal, this is one thing that everybody talks. Houses mirroring round shapes reflect a deep connection between individuals and the community. Then the question is, what are fractal scaling? Fractal scaling refers to a special kind of self-similarity seen in fractals. Fractals themselves are geometric shapes exhibiting a fascinating property. Their complex details are repeated at different scales. Imagine zooming in on a coastline on a map. You will see all sorts of twists and turns, bays and inlets. If you keep zooming in, those twists and turns start to resemble the overall shape of a coastline itself. That's fractal scaling in action. Okay. And then sustainable living. I've been talking about sustainability. What are the things that you want in your house that will make it sustainable? Is it the material we're going to use? Natural insulation, cross ventilation. Do you know what cross ventilation is? Wind can blow from one place to the other unhindered. Modern adaptation, preservation. Of course, we can't talk about spaces in Africa without the colonial impact. And in the reading you have for the week, which I sent, and I'm going to send it again, there are just 17 pages out of 53, where somebody was talking about all sorts of things from Nigeria to Africa. So there's always colonial impact. Would you want your house to have a colonial impact? And then these are some of the influences and the Islamic heritage. So that's that. Okay. Why does it do that?
Show you our final images and all.
Not yet, not yet.
Still want us to write a paragraph?
Yes, yes. But let me see what I want you to listen to the voice of the man you're going to read his paper.
We gotta streamline these ideas. We need Grammarly.
I'm glad you're back.
Thank you very much, Baba, and thank you very much, Michael Tola, for your help and assistance to getting Baba to get this floating. I am absolutely honored to be here, and I'm honored that one of the students who did not meet me in the school evidently is carrying on the tradition that we try to establish in the University of Lagos. And in his hands, with the support of the previous speakers, we can begin to project real, true African architecture with all its important meanings, the generations yet to come. The preservation of what we do, what we made in Africa, is one of the weakest points in our arsenal, preserving the true meanings of our culture. The paper he referred to that was my inaugural lecture in 1998. I read through it a couple of times before this lecture. I really don't think I should be reading that again. One of my students in Brazil has translated this inaugural lecture.
And you have a copy of this.
And we collected
What he's talking about. You have it.
to make a publication of it in Brazil.
Mhm.
And within the next 1 month or two, I will prepare the English version with all the illustrations. I will make this available to Baba to distribute to all of you. But what I will do today is to make a reflection of the past 24 years since that lecture in 1998. And I'm picking 3 topics just to discuss. One is about the Giza pyramids. And the second is about city projects or new city projects, or what I would call transformation of forms. The audio is gone. The audio is gone. Okay.
We can hear you.
Okay, you can hear me. Okay, you don't really have to see it. It's migration of forms, which is basically the presence of vocabularies different in architecture and city planning, different from what the traditional societies in Africa have reflected as a response, as their own cultural response to the environmental they found themselves. And this is one of the battles we have to continue to fight. How meaningful, how relevant is the idiom, the language of modern architecture, a reflection of really how our culture, how we live our culture. And the third one would be one of the most perfect examples, which is the adaptation of the Black people taking from Africa to Brazil, and how they turned their own adaptation into a monumental, relevant experience in Brazil. So let me start with the reflections of the last 24 years. The Giza pyramids are still standing. European researchers and scholars are still searching for the advanced alien culture which built Giza pyramids. During the last 24 years, most of the scholars of the Egyptian pyramids have agreed that the builders of the pyramids, judging by the precision of their coordinates and composition, the pyramids of Giza complex ranks as one of the most extraordinary architectural structures, judging by the highly competitive standards of this century. The administrators of modern-day Egypt, aided by international agencies funding expansion projects, which continue to disrespect the Giza pyramids as the burial monuments and sacred place to the Egyptian pharaohs. The Islamic State, the government and the majority of the peoples of Egypt, who are extremely sensitive about their Islamic faith and the sanctity of the resting places of their dead, continue policies which disrespects the sanctity of the pharaohs' resting place. For the British as well as the French colonial officials who first desecrated the memory of the burial resting places of Egyptian kings, looting every project in sight, and defiling the dead royalty of Egypt, the wanton disrespect of the religious beliefs of other people's culture, as well as the appropriation of the material cultures, is well documented in the British Museum in London. The migration of funds and the impact on the lives and cultures of European colonists continues to be of concern. On land use, habitation, the structure of human settlements, distribution of resources in community accrued wealth, appropriation by the state of communal lands for state use have been abused. The uneducated and poor indigenous have inevitably been at the short end of the state's policies of development strategy. In Lagos, from Sierra Leone, free slave city, to the settlement in the Saro town, and the free slaves from Brazil from plantation in Midtown, Lagos. Aided by the colonial governor, the Tanis encouraged the Afro-Brazilians to be settled in Lagos. These two groups were allies of the British administration against the indigenous kingdom of Lagos. The town/row houses of the Catholic Brazilians and the Methodist Church of England's Sierra Leonean lifestyle, as well as the European British sartorial dress patterns, distinguished them and set them apart from the indigenous ruling class. There were new cities which depended on huge land acquisition in Nigeria, Abuja in Nigeria, Dodoma in Tanzania, to name a few. British colonial new towns included Kaduna and Port Harcourt, the former the military cantonment, with cities for generals to go around it, and Port Harcourt, the port city. So the same thing is Lagos, which was developed as a port city. Part of the culture that we inherited from British colonial system, as most countries did in Africa and elsewhere, is that we inherited traditions, we inherited institutions, the full meaning and significance we did not understand. And even if we understood much later, we still have no answer to how to deal with these problems. If you look at the rate of coup d'etat organized by our army that was raised and prepared to defend the territory and the integrity of the colonized countries, it will be surprising that we understood at all why they were set up. The same as we now understand that Lagos is nothing but a city which is set up infrastructurally and funded as a commercial city to receive goods manufactured abroad, for which our competition in terms of industry setup have no match. These are the realities of the economy we run, which we do not control.
I wish you can go back and digest what he's saying. We've gone through this before in class about how the education, the legacy of the European education does not serve the Africans. Even the economy. Those who were trained to be clerks, just people to write stuff, count how many bags. And that education up till now has not been reformed. And what he was saying here was that even the industries that the Africans set up, it's no match for those manufactured abroad.
For which our competition in terms of the industry we set up have no match. These are the realities of the economy we run, which we do not control. The territory we run, which we do not control. And the housing patterns, which we do not control. Because we did not understand what we inherited. And we still do not understand how to deal with those things we inherited, even if we understood them. And therefore you have corridor institutional housing for colonial officers by the British, who built a whole corridor, one end of the city to the other, so they can go from where they walk without having to cross or run into the native section of the town.
I'm going to end it
This
here.
pattern is
I hope somehow you would, these are the things that crisscross everything we've done so far in this class. Trying to understand the problems, but not projecting the problems alone, looking at the assets, the various assets of the African. Yeah, the colonial issue always comes up in all the areas, education, economy, even in housing. Well, it's 1:32. That's 8 minutes before the end of class. And I will just